Hey guys, we're back for another week of shin splints. And in this video, we're gonna go over the biomechanics related to shin splints and some of the causes. So shin splints really come about because of mismanaged load, where we end up overloading or overstressing that inner tibia area. This often comes from doing too much, too soon, and too long. We don't give our body adequate time to adapt to the increased stress of, say, more track practice, more soccer, more time on the feet with more impact going into the lower extremities. In addition to overloading the body, we also can run into shin splints if we have areas of our body that aren't working to kind of pull their weight in relation to the shin. So it's really important when we look at shin splints to look beyond just the shin itself. In people with shin splints, we'll often see decreased range of motion or ability to kind of take on more load bearing or load distribution through the ankle. We'll also see decreased tibial rotation. So our knee should actually be able to rotate a little bit where the tibia comes in and meets with the femur. And if we're missing that rotation, again, you guessed it, tibia ends up taking on more load. Super important for us to also check hip rotation. We'll also see decreased ability to rotate through the hip in athletes or people who have shin splints that are coming into our office. So the ankle, both flexion and rotation through the tibia, rotation through the hips are all really important factors that we need to address and make sure that our athletes that are coming in with shin splints have enough mobility in those areas so they don't unnecessarily throw that extra work into the tibia. Another factor when we look at the biomechanics involved with shin splints is our strike pattern, or how we run, what part of our foot hits the ground first as we're running. We often see more of a heel strike pattern in people with shin splints. And when we strike with our heel, we really cut out our ankle, knee, and hip and their ability to absorb some of that shock. So if we land with our heel down first, knee a little bit more straight, that force is going to go right into our bones rather than being more gently dispersed to the joints. So looking at strike pattern can be a really important factor in making sure that shin splints doesn't become a recurring issue for these athletes. One of the last factors that we look at for biomechanics of shin splints is our ability to eccentrically control our tibialis anterior. That's a lot of long words that basically just mean if our foot's going to strike the ground, can we adequately lengthen those front tibial muscles to control our foot coming down. If we lose that control, we could end up with more of like a slapping motion as our foot hits the ground. So if you've ever been told that you're like a very loud runner, people can hear you coming from blocks away, that could be a sign that you have that decreased eccentric control of the tibia. Again, all of these symptoms and the overtraining, we see it much more frequently in especially young athletes. Track and soccer seem to be some of the biggest culprits. And if we're doing that too much, too soon, for too long, we don't necessarily give our body enough time to adapt to those stresses, and that's when we end up seeing shin splints occur.